Second graders. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making our backgrounds for our tigers. And so we are going to be using stencils. Remember, it's a way of printmaking to do those. So I have a bunch of leaf stencils. And what you're going to do is you're going to use different leaf stencils around your project. And so the things you're going to get today, so you're going to have a choice of stencils. You're going to get a sponge. Remember to use the soft side when you're sponging your paint on your stencil. And today you're going to get yellow, green, and white because we want to demonstrate all of the beautiful different types of green that Henri Rousseau was so famous for. All right, so when you get some stencils, you might have to share with people that are by you. That is just fine. Just make sure that you don't touch your face or anything, and make sure you wash your hands thoroughly after this project is done. So when we have a stencil picked out, so when we do this, I want you to have at least 3 to 4 leaves on there. And so when you place them in like natural occurring places. Like cropping is always good. We know that that's part of a good composition. Don't just stick one like kind of right in the middle. Kind of have them around because we kind of want this to look like a tiger coming out of the forest. So I'm actually going to change my stencil. I'm going to have... really doesn't matter. Ooh, I really like this one. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to have it right here. I'm going to have it go a little bit off the page. And so these are all positive space stencils. So when we print them, we're going to be printing a positive shape. All right, so now what I'm going to do, just like we did with our snowflakes, is I don't want you to mix these all into one color. We want to demonstrate the different colors. So as I'm dabbing, I'm getting a bit of green, I'm getting a bit of white, and I'm getting a bit of yellow on my sponge. Remember to hold this down. And remember, hold it down so we don't get paint under the stencil. If you get paint under the stencil, then it kind of ruins your shape. But if you get a little bit of a mess up, that is okay, because I don't expect you to be perfect. I just expect you to do your best. If you want more, like to show different shades and tints of green, like I'm just adding just plain green now. Maybe I move on to just yellow, and that kind of adds a really nice blending effect to your leaves. A bit of white, make kind of like a lighter shade of greenish yellow. And when I take it off, and if you get paint on the table, that's okay. We will clean off the table later. When you take it off, it leaves a beautiful print. So you can use the same leaf, that is totally fine. Or if someone wants to trade, you can trade with them, that is fine. I'm going to use the same leaf, but that's up to you. And remember, I want 3 to 4. If you overlap them a little bit, that might change the stencil shape, but that's okay. So 3 to 4, we just want to make sure that we're utilizing the whole page. So I'm going to keep stenciling, and you guys can watch the process. All right, and so that is our background. And so when you're done, make sure that these go in the sink. Make sure the sponge goes back in the sponge container and the plate goes in the garbage. Thanks for watching. Second grade. So today what we're going to do is we're going to draw our real tiger that is going to be going on to our backgrounds. And so it's going to be just like the one we practiced, but it's going to be bigger. So I'm going to be giving you like a big pizza circle for the head. And so this is what we're going to use as our base. So I'm going to be drawing hard so you can see, but you guys should draw lighter because you always want to draw light until you get it right. So when you trace around the circle, trace lightly because we're going to be doing some erasing. All right, so when I put the circle down, I don't want to put it like right up at the tippy top. I want to put it like a little bit lower, almost kind of in the middle. So I'm going to hold it down, and then I'm going to trace around. Just like that. And then let me zoom in as we get into some details. All right, so at the bottom of the circle, we're going to do our nose and our mouth. So I'm going to start with a short vertical line, like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to turn this line into a Y, a really wide Y, just like that. And after we have our wide Y, then we're going to turn this nose into we're going to turn this line into a heart for a nose. So I'm going to make a bump there, and I'm going to make a bump there. So we have our nose. All right. To come down for the mouth, remember this is kind of the tricky part. I'm going to come down where my vertical line is, and I'm going to make a curved line that goes about just past the nose like that. Same thing on the other side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase the bottom of my circle where the nose overlaps or the mouth overlaps the bottom of the circle. So remember to draw lightly. And I'm going to give my tiger a chin. Just like that. So we have the bottom portion of the face covered right now. So now we're going to move up to the bridge of the nose. The bridge of the nose is like the hard part of like the top of your nose. And so I'm going to make 2 diagonal lines that don't touch. Kind of like that. And now for the eyes. So the eyes are going to go on both sides of the bridge of the nose. And I'm going to do 2 curved lines or rainbow lines. So it looks like he's very happy or sleepy. And then I'm going to do 2 more curved lines under it to form kind of like the football or almond shape of those eyes. Then we got some big circles in those for the irises. All right, I'm going to move towards the top of the tiger. And so not right on top of the circle line, but a little bit in. The ears are going to overlap a bit. And I know it kind of looks like a bear right now, but it'll look like a tiger. And then make your detail on the inside of the ear and erase those extra lines that we don't need. All right. And so tigers, they have really kind of furry faces. So now I'm going to go down and I'm going to create kind of that fur with a zigzag line. I'm just kind of using the side of the circle as a guideline. We need to erase those. All right, so now that we're down here, we're just going to be doing just the chest or the shoulders of the tiger. I'm going to just make them go to there because this paper is the same size as our background paper. And now we're going to make the parts of the tiger that are white, and then we'll move on to the stripes. So on the chest, you're going to want to make a zigzag line for the white of the chest. And then on the muzzle, the mouth part, you're going to make a curved line going from the nose to the mouth, nose to the mouth, both sides. And then we're ready for some stripes. And so for the tiger stripes, I like to make them, especially on the forehead, I like to make like big shark fins. So, and make them like different sizes because that's going to help as well. Along the cheeks of the tiger. Along the shoulders of the tiger. And then finally some whiskers on the muzzle. If you want to do like extra like lines, like maybe some stripes like on the ears, that's totally fine. Up to you. And now I am going to outline. And when you outline, you're also going to color in the tiger stripes as well, because when we paint these, we're going to paint right over the tiger stripes, and it's going to make our lives a lot easier than just painting in each tiger stripe, believe me. So make sure when you're outlining, you color in the stripes as well. After you outline and colored all your stripes in, it's time to erase the extra pencil lines. Hey, second grade, now it's time to paint the tiger. And so when we're painting this in, it's okay if you get paint outside the lines because we're going to be ending up cutting this out. So the only parts I want you to leave white are the whites of the eyes. You can, paint in the iris. That's totally fine. But leave the mouth and the chest white. So remember, as you're painting, try to do that. So it's really up to you how you want to paint your tiger. You can make a rainbow tiger. You can make a purple and blue tiger. That is totally fine. But I want you to use at least 2 colors in your tiger, so not just plain orange. And so we're going to be using blending for this. So I have my cup, I have my brush, and so to blend, it's kind of like mixing 2 colors together. And so to get a nice transition, so first of all, I'm going to dip the 2 colors, at least 2 colors that I want, into my watercolor. So I'm going to do orange and yellow. I would recommend orange and yellow if you want like the most like realistic tiger for the realistic tiger color. Otherwise, the colors that blend the best are the ones that are right next to each other on the paint palette. So like red and orange would blend nicely together, not red and green. Those are complementary colors, and those would mix to make a brown. So like yellow and green would mix well together, not yellow and purple. All right. So first, okay, so I got my orange nice and juicy. And so I'm just going to go kind of like this. That's okay that I'm going over. Remember, because we're going to end up cutting these out. And when I start to add the yellow, we want the orange to be nice and juicy so it blends in really nicely. So I'm going to go into my yellow, and I'm going to overlap the orange a little bit, kind of like midway. Careful around the eyes and everything. This is why I had you color in the stripes, because you could just paint right over it. And then I just keep going on with my yellow. So I would do the same thing on the other side. I would start with orange, then I would go into yellow. And if you don't have a pink in your palette, what you do is you just use a lot of water with just a little bit of red. So I'm going to be using that for his nose and the ears. Okay, so to start to cut the tiger out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut not in between the fur on the side. I'll show you how what an easy way to how to cut that out is in a little bit. So I'm just going to go along the tips. All right, so now to get in between all of those spaces to have good craftsmanship for this, what you're going to do is you're just going to make two cuts. So I'm going to make one cut on one side, one cut on the other side, and it falls off. All right, and so for gluing this down, I want you to use a glue bottle. And one thing to remember when you're placing the tiger down is to have the tiger's shoulders match up with the bottom. I've had lots of kids in the past put the tiger right here. That does not look realistic. So make sure when you glue, you're matching that up with the bottom. And that's our tiger composition inspired by Henri Rousseau. Thanks for watching.